So are President Trump's promised targeted tariffs on China a negotiating tactic? I wrote about this in my op-ed in the Wall Street Journal today. Oh, it's so sweet, David. The art of the steel tariffs. Here now to react, Steve Forbes, Forbes media chairman. Basically, the argument was that President Trump doesn't love tariffs, that this is, you slap them on to get somebody's attention, and it's about negotiating all around the world against trade deals that he hasn't been in favor of, that haven't had great terms. China's a place where we've lost a ton of intellectual property, where there isn't level trading. First of all, do you agree? Do you think it's a tactic, and do you think it'll work?
Well, I think he believes in tariffs, so I don't think
do?
that yes,
yeah.
But he's also, as you've pointed out in that article, been willing to back off if he thinks he's getting something in return. So one doesn't contradict the other. And the key thing is, are we telling the Chinese, giving them 1, 2, 3, here are the areas where you have abuses. Here's where we want corrections.
Yeah.
And if you don't, we're going to take some actions. And this has to be coupled, though, with having more military presence in that region, saying you're not going to turn the South China Sea into international waters, into a Chinese lake. So we're going to find out in a week, is this going to work with the European Union in terms of, as you said at the end of the article, you quoted the president saying you can have all of this hoopla stuff, but at the end of the day, do you get results? If you don't, people will catch on. And so is he going to get results from the EU and avoid a trade war, in which case we both lose because both of our economies would be hurt?
Yeah.
And we'll see if this works in the international sphere in the next 7 days. Because
you have to be willing, I mean, you know, in any negotiation, you have to be willing to walk away from the table, and you have to be willing to truly follow through with whatever your threat is. And they have to believe that you'll do it.
And that's why you've got to be very, very careful, because they can hurt us in very particular areas, in very sensitive political states. And walking away, yes, that's what Ronald Reagan did in Reykjavik 30 years ago against Mikhail Gorbachev. They had this great agreement. Then at the end, he said, just say you're not going to develop these anti-missile defense systems. Everyone said, yeah, we don't know. We're not close to it anyway. Give it away. And Reagan said no. He walked away. Everyone criticized him, but he was right, and we won the Cold War. So that's why when you go in, as Obama discovered, you don't say red line unless you mean it.
Yeah.
What have you thought through, step by step? What if, like a chess game? What if they do this? What if they do that? What do we do? I hope we've done that, because we could make some progress.
I would imagine, since this is the way he's been negotiating his whole entire life, and now he's bringing it to politics, I would imagine he has thought that through, because we all know in business that you have to be prepared for every outcome.
Right.
One of the questions that's on the table is, will it work as well in politics as it did in business?
Well, this is where you get the different dimension, what analysts call honor. People feel, even if they are going to be, if they're backed into a corner, or they can't publicly look like they're backing down, then you're going to force them to do what neither of you want them to do. So have you given them a face saving? China, face is very big, especially in Asia. If you give it a way in which they can say, oh, we got what we wanted, or we got something, so it doesn't look like they were forced to back down. Especially the Chinese are very sensitive about what the Europeans did to them in the 1800s, where they were constantly humiliated with Japan. You got to give them a way in which you can get what you want from them, but where they can say, okay, we got something in return.